Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com, a free site. Bettingangle.us, a free site. It is Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Now, as you can imagine, the people of the boxing community, longtime boxing people, are a bit outraged that dilettantes, YouTubers, people like Jake Paul could actually draw crowds for exhibition matches. Right? Sooner or later, Jake Paul is going to run into someone who is a real fighter, the story goes. Right? Sooner or later, he's going to run into someone who has actual experience, who's going to make him look like a dilettante, make him look like an amateur, make him look like a visitor to the sport. Folks, in my opinion, that's not this fight. I like Jake Paul to win this fight. I'll concede Tommy Fury might be a better athlete, seems to have the faster hands. But let's talk about this. First, how experienced is Tommy Fury? I know you're looking at the record. He's unbeaten. He has 7 wins. 7 wins over who? I'm going to name some of the records of some of the guys he's fought. 10 wins, 102 losses, 3 draws. That's one guy. No wins, 9 losses. That's another guy. No wins, 11 losses. That's another guy. 2 wins, 26 losses. No wins, 26 losses. The best record of a Tommy Fury opponent was 2 wins and no losses. Now, as I see it, Tommy Fury really has fought no one. Right? This experience, we'll put it in quotes, is overstated in the press. Right? Let's be clear. The best thing Tommy Fury has going for him at this point in his career is his last name. Now, in my opinion, the best opponent either of these guys has faced was Tyron Woodley, who should have been credited with a knockdown in the Jake Paul fight. He hits Paul. Paul actually falls into the ropes. Woodley, after being tentative early, after being too low volume early, starts cutting off the ring, starts showing some power, actually has a pretty explosive right hand. Now, I didn't see that in looking at Tommy Fury opponents, the films I was able to track down. So, Tommy Fury, who likes to go to the body, who likes to bob a little bit, right? He's a committed body puncher. He likes to bob. He likes to stay outside. He likes to hit you, slowly move forward. The question is, has Jake Paul, who I'm picking to win this fight, faced the guy who bobs and tries to come inside and throw body punches? And I think he has. I want to encourage people to look at the Aneeson-Gibb fight. Right? I thought Gibb actually comes in, it's a creative style. Right? He's bobbing, he's trying to get inside. Front foot heavy. Right? Picture if Mike Tyson had less power and was a little bit slower getting inside. Right? Now, the reason why the Gibb fight, to me, is the fight to look at to figure out this Jake Paul, Tommy Fury fight, is that you notice that Jake Paul has power throwing, let's say, punches about chest level. In fact, what's apparent from the Gibb film is that Jake Paul, and we know this from other fights, has an outsized right hand. Right? Let's stop kidding ourselves. Between these two punchers, between these two boxers, Jake Paul, compared to Tommy Fury, has the best punch. It's his right hand. Right? And as he shows in the Gibb fight, it's not all straight right hands. He can throw hooks. Right? In the Gibb fight, he also shows a jab. That hurts Gibb. I believe that jab is going to keep body puncher Tommy Fury at bay. Right? Also, just looking at the skills. Right? And that's what matters. It's not, has the guy been a lifelong professional fighter? No, let's look at the skills. Jake Paul is not just a celebrity in there hanging around hoping to land a lucky punch. Jake Paul, in the Gibb fight, in other fights, the Nate Robinson fight, has shown you a back foot. Right? He can win rounds. The Woodley fight, he can win rounds on his back foot. So Tommy Fury, who, as I see it, has fought nobody, is going to be on his front foot. Right? He better be careful, or he might find himself staggered like Gibb did. Right? Like Nate Robinson, another guy who was on his front foot did. He's going to be on his front foot against a guy who's a superior puncher. Right? Against a guy who has a back foot. Right? I'm not sure if Tommy Fury has fought a guy as good as Jake Paul. Let's not be blinded by the backgrounds of the guys. Right? And it's clear, too. Understand, boxing has a poker element. Whatever persona Problem Child has, and I agree, he's irritating to me. Right? Whatever persona Problem Child has, just understand that in the background, and it's clear looking at film, it's clear looking at the serious men in his corner, right? BJ Flores used to be a champion. It's clear that Jake Paul is preparing for fights. Sure, he's bringing a WWE type of, promotion and persona to the mix. Okay, sure. He's acting infantile and he's, trying to irritate people. Okay, I'll agree with that. If you ask me who's going to be the more irritating fighter on fight night, okay, Jake Paul wins that by a landslide. But don't ignore the guy's preparation. You don't just end up with this jab. You don't just end up with back foot skills. Right? This is a guy with 3 KOs in 4 fights. 75% KO ratio against opposition that I think's better than Tommy Fury's opposition. Right? He's getting stoppages, but yet he's on his back foot for portions of his fights. You don't develop these skills without working on them. Look at the Gibb fight. You don't see a lot of swings and misses. Jake Paul isn't a dilettante. Jake Paul is extremely accurate. Now, we can't judge the challenges here. Right? There is someone who I think beats Jake Paul, and she's been calling him out. Claressa Shields. Right? Sooner or later, Jake Paul is going to run into someone like that. Someone who's fought real opposition. Someone who has a better jab than Jake Paul. Right? Someone who's going to know how to avoid that right hand. I don't believe that fight is this fight. I'm picking Jake Paul here to win the match. I'll hedge the play with Tommy Fury by stoppage. Right? Jake Paul did get knocked down in the Tyron Woodley fight. The ref blew the call. We're interested in reality, not referee mistakes. There is an open question on Jake Paul's ability to take a punch. I'll hedge this play with Fury by stoppage. But make no mistake, I expect Jake Paul to win this fight. His right hand is so outsized, I would not be surprised if he does so by stoppage. Understand, Tyron Woodley, who went the distance with him, is a rough and tumble, experienced MMA fighter. Right? This is a guy with a lot of experience. He's an MMA great. Right? He has survival skills. He's a vet. He has a level of experience in surviving that, in my opinion, far exceeds Tommy Fury's. Right? I know Fury has more professional boxing matches, but let's just say Tyron Woodley, it's a shame he gave away the early rounds to Jake Paul because he seemed to be coming on as the fight progressed. Tommy Fury, in my opinion, doesn't have the combat experience that Tyron Woodley does. Understand, folks, Tyron Woodley is the only man to go the distance with Jake Paul. And I don't care if you're experienced or not. Jake Paul's right hand is real, whether he throws a hook, whether he throws a straight right hand. Some guys are just blessed with punching power. Right? Jake Paul's right hand deserves your attention. I like the celebrity in this fight to win, hedged with Tommy Fury by stoppage if the odds allow. If I had one bet to make, it would be on Jake Paul to win this fight. Yes, I'm taking on paper the lesser experienced fighter. That's the way I see it. Let me hear from you. Understand, I consider Jake Paul to be a much better fighter than Logan Paul. Right? Let me go one step further. Right? You know, occasionally you'll run into, in some sports, an athlete, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds, who exceeds what his father, a professional athlete, has done. Right? Okay, I'll concede that. Doesn't happen that often. Right? The fact that Tommy Fury is a Fury doesn't lead me to the conclusion, especially against this opposition, 10 wins, 102 losses, doesn't lead me to the conclusion that he's going to look like Tyson Fury or Hughie Fury. Right? You have to judge each person on their own merits. Right? I understand. Both of these guys have family members who box. I couldn't care less. Jake Paul, to me, is a better fighter than Logan Paul. Right? Tommy Fury, at least on film, doesn't remind me of Tyson Fury. I like Jake Paul in this one. If I had one bet to make, it'd be Jake Paul to win. If I have a hedge that the casino odds allow, I'll hedge it with Fury by KO. That's how I see it. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your comments in the comment section of this video. Understand, the 2-0 fighter that Fury fought actually went the distance against him. Food for thought. Also, I understand that the heavyweight champion, Tyson Fury, is going around telling people, oh, Tommy got this. Right? Tommy's going to spank this guy. You know what? We all understand that Tyson Fury has to show up for Christmas dinner, doesn't he? What else is he going to say? Right? He's not going to say, oh, Tommy's going to get spanked. Right? We understand. We understand that these fighters giving predictions about family members have to think about their next time home at the family home. Right? So, as much as I respect Tyson Fury, I'm going to disagree with him here, and I'm going to take the other guy. Let me hear from you. I hope you leave your thoughts in the comment section of this video. Thanks for stopping by.